Hi, Dr. Marcia Tuft here. I hope you'll have a lot of fun. This week, we're going to build a cardboard catapult. Next week, we're going to test a cardboard catapult. So if you don't do this experiment, you're out of luck for next week. So I've got lots of information to show you so that you're going to be certain to be able to successfully build a cardboard catapult using mostly things you have on hand at home. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my background. I am a retired engineer from GE Aviation. My background includes degrees in mechanical, aerospace, and materials engineering. I even did a PhD in materials engineering to study the effects of shot peening on metal surfaces to improve the fatigue and fracture life. So shot peening is just shooting tiny little particles of metal, tiny, like flea dirt size pieces of metal onto a metal target. And it changes the material and the microstructure, hopefully to make it last longer. If you remember our egg drop experiment last week, when we dropped our egg from 7 feet high, it broke and it fractured. So my goal was to keep the metal from breaking and fracturing so parts would last longer. Anyway, got to shoot lots of cool experiments, had fun shooting those little particles, individual particles, onto a sheet of metal. So now that I'm retired, I have fun developing experiments like this. In fact, the experiment we're doing this week and next is one of my all-time favorite experiments. It's actually the first experiment I got involved with the Girl Scouts Year of the Girl program in the after school series. And in that, we had kits to build these wood catapults. Well, we can't get these catapult kits anymore. So I came up with a way to figure out, okay, what's the key parts of a catapult? How does it work? What were the weaknesses of this design? Can I come up with something better? So I came up with a way to build a cardboard catapult out of cardboard using an Amazon A1 box. I thought that would be pretty cool. Finite resources, be able to build a catapult. And then I thought, okay, this one, wasn't big pieces of cardboard. The instructions may have been a little bit complicated. So I thought, well, is there a way I can simplify it, make it easier for somebody else to follow? So I thought, okay, well, I have this cool IKEA box, but simple. You just cut a couple pencil holes here. Again, lever arm catapult. But not everybody can get one of these, so then I thought, well, really all we're doing is a cardboard frame. So I thought, well, this is made out of actually 4 pieces of cardboard, 2 sides in one piece. Pretty easy to understand, right? A bottom piece. These get taped together, and then the corner piece for structure to hold it. So I thought, well, this is kind of boring looking. Is there a way we can decorate it and make it look cool? So then I came up with this one, where I decorated the sides and taped them on afterwards. And I thought, well, to explain how to make this, is there maybe even a simpler way that I can show you where we're going? And then that's when I came up with my K'NEX catapult. So whether you have cardboard, K'NEX, Tinker Toys, a catapult is basically a frame to support a lever arm. So before I show you my designs for building your own cardboard catapult, I want to walk you quickly through the key parts of catapult, because there are many, many ways to build a cardboard catapult. And I encourage you to embrace your inner engineer and come up with your own twist on this cool mechanical device that converts potential energy into kinetic energy. Okay, so catapult. All right, so we need a lever arm. The lever arm supports the carrier cup, which I use a condiment cup for. So this is going to hold your projectile. So something like this. Okay, so the whole point of this is just so that your projectile actually gets to launch. Your rubber band is your energy storage device. And the frame basically exists to provide a pivot point for your catapult, lever arm, and an anchor point for your rubber band. Your lever arm also has to support an attachment point for your rubber band. So that's basically all a catapult is. You know, you can come up with any sort of frame, and you know, that's what we're going to build. Okay, I do need to talk to you for a second about lever arm angles. Okay, so you need some sort of angle on your lever arm. If I put a lot of energy into tossing this wiffle ball up, okay, I can put lots of energy, have lots of hang time, but it doesn't go anywhere because all I'm doing is I'm tossing it straight up. And I want to get as much distance as possible with my catapult. Okay, so what if I put all that energy, all that stored rubber band energy, what if I put it all into horizontal velocity? Okay, well, if I just do a little bit of, you know, maybe goes a foot. Okay, if I raise it up a little bit more, you can see this, it can go a lot further. So I need to get some vertical height on my projectile to get as much range. Okay, how am I going to do that? So my ideal is some sort of an angle that's going to give me more launch, more hang time, and more distance. The cool thing about these templates, though, my design, you get like 6 lever arm positions. So you can tinker with that lever arm angle all that you like. And in this template where I show you the bottom and the corner, okay, you need a bottom and a corner, they need to be the same width. And 3 inches is probably a good minimum width, but you can make it wider. This one is 4 inches wide. This one, okay, I made out of one of these landscape boxes. You can get it in Natorp Delhi, size depends a little bit. And my templates fit perfectly in the bottom of the box. So you can see where I have a catapult right side, here's my bottom, my left side, and then there was enough room for my corner piece here up at the top. So just this flat piece of this landscaping box was enough to build this catapult with about a 3-inch width base. Is that base wide enough? Well, it depends on what container you're using to carry your projectile. If you're using a fat yogurt cup, you might get some rubbing, you know, might bind, in which case you might just have to trim the corners of your catapult down or make it wider. If you use a little condiment cup like this, no problem. So 3 inches is a good width for a condiment cup. You can use a protein powder scoop too. If you're going to go with a wider cup, then you want to check your base width and make sure that you're not going to have any rubbing or contact. This has to flow freely. As I said, you can trim those angles down. It doesn't have to be that wide. All right, so I think we're down to the rubber band discussion and the lever arm. Got to talk about those rubber bands. Okay, so I've used tons of rubber bands. Okay, there's one no-no. I've bought like a pack of these cool kind of heavy-duty rubber bands. These are really too long for my design. They're too heavy and too long. You might be able to get them to work if you double them up, but one of my favorite rubber bands is probably whatever your mom's going to have stuck in her kitchen cabinets, just a regular, you know, thin rubber band. Now I have also I've also tried, sometimes with asparagus, you get a rubber band around the asparagus, and I thought this was too fat, but I have gotten it to work. I did have to reinforce the tape on my clip. You know, my favorite demo here. all of my designs use a wood paint stir stick for the lever arm. So this is super lightweight. The other thing that's better than with this design than the original wood catapult design, it wasn't really a great finger hold to pull the lever arm down. And girls would rip this cup off pretty easily. And the rubber band went on the screw that holds the cup on, and sometimes the plastic cup would get shredded after a few fires, so after launching it a few times. So with this design, we're putting the condiment cup pretty much centering it on the back of the stir stick, and then we're using a little plastic hook. I use these 3M Command hooks, and they come with their own adhesive tabs. They're actually removable, so if you want to remove your clip for some reason later, you just pull it down and the adhesive releases, so your mom or your dad can have their paint stir stick back damage-free. And super simple to clip your rubber band onto this, and you're not stressing the cup, okay? So this is probably the one special thing you may need to buy. Everything else should be stuff that you have at home and can grab pretty easily. Okay, so that's basically your catapult. That's where we're headed. Because you do have to cut the cardboard. So let me talk about that for a second. You can use a sturdy pair of scissors. You may need, depending on your age, you may need some help from an adult to cut through that cardboard. Some of it is sturdier than others. You can use a utility knife. If you're using a utility knife and a straight edge, make sure you protect the work surface. Make sure your mom or dad is okay with you using the utility knife. And please do not cut into your dining room table or kitchen counter or ruin a good piece of furniture. So if you've got a workbench that you can use, if not, go out on a cardboard, on a patio or driveway, put a piece of cardboard down, just, so you're not cutting into concrete to protect the sharpness of your blade. Anyhow, so if that's too tough, I even came up with yet another rapid prototype. Oh, let me show you. This is the catapult that I made in the video. So this is out of the used FedEx box. So all these catapults work well. If your lever arm angle is too shallow, your rubber band may unhook. That's okay. If you've got a steeper angle, it's a little bit more reliable. So just warn you about lever arm angles. And if you cannot manage cardboard or K'NEX or Tinker Toys, I even made one out of a milk carton, okay? This is not my favorite. And this one, the lever arm needed a lot of reinforcing, okay? Because to get a good range, now I've actually used this on 2 angles. So I've used it as the other direction pointing up, super shallow angle, which didn't go very far, or the steeper angle, okay? So you can, I have to do this on my little table here. Yeah, okay, we'll try this. But it's not as sturdy, but you can cut a milk carton, leave the base and 3 sides, poke a hole for your pencil, and I used a little bit of duct tape for reinforcing on the milk carton cardboard. But if all else fails, you can make a catapult out of a cardboard milk container, okay? So no excuses. You're gonna build a cardboard catapult. You can do this. This may not be the perfect catapult, but it'll work, okay? So no worries. We're gonna get into the science of the catapult, how the catapult works next week, okay? So here I'm gonna insert the video on how to do your lever arm and how to make your cardboard base. I'll be back. All right, so these 3M tabs have a black side that says wall side. That's the side that's gonna go down on your stir stick. This is what makes it removable if you want to take that hook off later. And you can reuse the hook, just not the adhesive strip. And then the blue side is the last side that you peel off before you stick your hook down. Okay, here's how I arrange my lever arms. I use the notch to center my cup. So if I'm using a yogurt cup, I'm going to need a little bit more, well, space for my hook. So what it's going to look like is my hook is going to snug up next to my cup. So I want to place everything first. Now you want to leave at least the finger's width here at the end. It's going to make it super easy for you to load your catapult. Unlike the kits that we had that we got for Girl Scouts in 2015, we didn't have a good way to pull the lever arm down. And anyway, the way it attached, the rubber band sometimes tore up the cup and it didn't last too long. If you can make your cup as light as possible, that's great. These Kite Hill yogurts have a paper side that actually will peel right off. Makes it a little bit lighter, so you can use a yogurt cup. For this one, somewhere around here, I've got another plastic condiment cup, and that's my favorite lightweight catapult arm, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so the first step to assembling your lever arm is gather your materials and then arrange your carrier cup and your hook where you want them. Okay, now I'm going to take off a tab, and again, as I told you, the black strip comes off first. The black paper covering comes off first. Okay, and I'm going to place this with the long handle tab down pretty much right next to where I'm going to put my cup. Now I'm just going to take a blunt pen bottom and burnish this. All this does is it helps get your adhesive to stick really well to your stir stick, and then I just pull off that little piece of blue paper. Okay, now I can attach my hook. Now if you see this, I'm attaching my hook so that the open end points to the stir stick where my cup's going to go at the end. Okay, so that's pretty much all there is. So that's my open end. Okay, so here's my condiment cup. Now, because I had double sticky adhesive tape, I just went ahead and cut off a piece because this is going to work a little bit better than a command stir stick. And then I'm just going to put this down. And snug my condiment cup up over it. Okay. So that's my lever arm. Now, if you are using a 3M command tab and it doesn't quite stick, you can also use some packing tape like this to go around the back of your cup. I had to do that for this one was flying off. So if you can see that, you can see the plastic tape went around the backs, and it works just fine. So no worries, okay? The other thing you're going to need is some duct tape to attach your strip to the pivot, your stir stick to the cardboard. And it really only has to engage on one side. All it's doing, it's holding it in place so it can pivot around your structure. That's all the duct tape does. I'm back to show you how to make a cardboard catapult like this out of either a large piece of cardboard. You can use a landscaping box or a FedEx box, medium or large will do. I'm just using a used large FedEx box. Okay, so I've got a couple different templates. The main thing is you're going to have a side. You're going to cut 2 of these. You can cut them out and just line them up here on your box and cut them out, or you can measure out 7 inches by 9.5 inches. And the bottom. So the cool thing about a FedEx box, let's take a look at these. This one, this medium, is about 3.5 inches wide. This is not quite 3. Okay. So, if your condiment cup is less than the width of your FedEx box, it's going to save us taping that side together. But if not, you just cut out 3 pieces of cardboard and you duct tape them together. It's no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish ripping this side. I'm just going to cut it out to open it up a bit. Okay? So I am going to pick a starting point for my box, and I'm just going to draw a straight line. So this step is, I'm just using a ruler to mark a straight line here. The only trick here is it's got to be perpendicular to this fold. Okay, so now I want 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches. Okay, from this fold, now I'm going to mark 7. Okay, so I've got my catapult marked out. I've given you probably too many templates. This one shows you how I'm marking my lever arm positions. Okay, but you may find these with the angles just easier to work with. So if you cut one of each of these, you will see that's our front there. This is our front. So on my templates, I've marked front. So here I've just measured out my 7 by 9.5 inches. I can put my templates there and mark around those, and here's my catapult bottom. So these templates work perfectly for a FedEx. This is a FedEx large box. If the medium's wider, you've got extra width there, it's all good. The main thing is the sides about 7 by 9.5. Perfect. Now I'm going to need one other piece. So I need this to be the same width. And that's the only other slightly tricky thing about this. But with this angle, it's not going to matter. Okay, you're hearing gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. So I just need one more piece here. And I'll show you what those fold lines are going to do. Okay, these are my cut lines. I am just going to do a real simple cut. I'm going to speed this video up. It's actually pretty easy to cut. This direction is going to be a little bit harder. So I'm going to start in, we're going to learn a little bit about cutting cardboard. Trying to make the cuts easy. Make it hard to come at it from the directions. Okay. One piece away. This one I care a little bit about. And actually, I'm going to cut down here. So you notice I'm curling this as I cut it to make it easier for me to cut. And this is, I got a little bit lucky here. This is the stiff reinforced end of the box where it got taped over. So I moved my lines off enough. If you're using a new box, that won't be a problem. Okay, we're almost done. I'm just going to cut on this side now. And guess what? This is the structure of my box. In this version, I had to tape these corners. In this version, the fold forms that for me already. Okay, so I am going to line up. We're going to call this the front. So I'm going to mark my front. The only other tricky bit about making this catapult is keeping your sides straight. Okay, so if I line this up, call this front, now I take my hole punch. This is a little harder.
Normally, if you don't have hole punch, it's okay. You can make a little X at the center. Just score it with a utility knife, and maybe the device to help you with that. Okay, that's one side. Here's the other side. Make your hole start on the top point, it's okay. It's just to hold the pencil to be an anchor point for your rubber band. This is not a precision craft. Your catapult is not going to crash if you don't get perfect. Okay, so
I'm going to call this my front, and I'm gonna number this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll do the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That's the only tricky part, is numbering. Numbering from the front. Okay, so I have my catapult base. Oh, we are almost done with this puppy. All right. Okay, so here I'm going to take about that distance. And again, this is not rocket science. I'm just going to mark. This looks like a nice fold that's already started here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just going to take advantage of it. Now I just need 2 more folds. I'm going to say about here and about here. And I'm just going to score this with the end of my marker just to help it bend. And if I want to, I can do it one more time. That didn't quite bend where I wanted it to. Okay, what this is going to do for me, all I'm doing is I'm kind of making a triangle here. And you'll learn more about cardboard tube trusses, is what I call these, in the Build a Cardboard Boat experiment. But all I'm going for is a little bit extra stiffening at the front. Now this is really truly about the only real tricky point. I'm going to start here to give you. So this is how it's going to fit, right? So I want to get my box squared. Now the only tricky part about the way I did this one, this looks like I'm a little bit fatter here than my base. Not a big deal. So my catapult base has a little bow in it. It's all good. It'll work just fine. And I just need to fold my top over. Okay, so did you see how that all went together to fill my base? Okay, now I just need to attach this, and I forgot my rubber band. So, pencil, rubber band. Ah, stir stick. Okay, so let's get this attached first. We've got our base. All I really need to do, I'm putting duct tape on the front side for this catapult. Just going to wrap it around the back. Okay, so I want to center this. and just wrap it around, okay? It does not have to be perfectly flat or smooth. You don't get brownie points for perfection. I'm gonna put this in position 3. Okay, so I've got my pencil here. I am gonna take my favorite trusty green rubber band first. Which way? This way, okay. So I like the top loop of my rubber band to come over the pencil, and that doesn't really matter, and clip onto the hook. There's my catapult, see? Nothing flat. We are done with our catapult. Now, we're ready to test. Okay, let's test our catapult. Ready, steady, go. Good job. Here's another one. Okay, so have you made your cardboard catapult? Did everything work out okay? I hope you had fun, and totally feel free to decorate, make it as pretty as possible. When art and science come together, it's a beautiful thing. So have a lot of fun, let your creativity shine. It's a fun experiment, and I want to make sure you're able to do it. So I invite you to post videos or photos of your finished catapult. Decorate it if you can. You're also welcome to go to my website, putneydesigns.com. Under the STEM menu, there's a catapults page. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a way to submit a photo or a video of your experiment. And if you do that, I'll post it on my website. I'd love to see what you're doing. Hope to see you next week in the next part of this experiment. This is Dr. Marcia Tuft signing off.